welcome back to our course on Principles of Management. In today's lecture, we are going to dive into one of the most critical areas of management, which is strategic management. If you have ever wondered why some companies thrive for decades while others fade away within a few years, the answer often lies in the strategy they choose and how effectively they implement them. So, strategic management is about a big picture, about decisions, the roadmap that guides an organization from where it is today to where it aspires to be in the future. I encourage you to think of your favorite company, maybe Apple, Toyota, or even any local business in your city, and reflect on what strategies they might have used to succeed. Keep those in mind because I will be asking you to share your thoughts as we progress. So, what is strategic management? Strategic management is a set of decisions and actions that determine the long term performance of an organization. Unlike routine operational decisions, strategy is not about what we will do today, but rather about what we should be doing over the next 5 or 10 or even 10 or 20 years. It involves analyzing the environment, setting long term goals, formulating strategies, and then ensuring those strategies are carried out effectively. For example, think about Netflix. In its early days, Netflix was a DVD rental company, but it foresaw the shift in technology and consumer behavior and decided to invest heavily in streaming services before many competitors even thought about it. That strategic choice completely redefined its future and placed it as a market leader in a digital entertainment. So, strategic management is very important and it provides direction and consistency in decision making. And without a clear strategy, organization can easily get lost in short-term distractions or market turbulence. A good strategy allows company to respond proactively to change in the environment rather than reaching it when it's too late. For example, imagine a football team playing without a game plan. Even if they have a best players, but without a clear strategy, they will lose to a team with a coordinated plan. Same is true in business strategy. Business strategy aligns all employees, departments, and resources toward a common goal or objective. Then we discuss about strategic management process. Let's break down the strategic management process. It is basically a systematic approach consisting of several steps. One by one, we are going to discuss each step. Number one step is identifying the organizational mission, goals, and strategy. Every organization must first answer why do we exist actually? What do we want to achieve? This is where mission statements and long term objectives come into play. For example, Tesla mission to accelerate the world transition to sustainable energy drives every decision it makes. So, identification of a mission is the first step. Second step is external analysis. External analysis is about opportunities or threats in the market. Manager must scan the external environment, competition, economic trends, social changes, technology, government regulations, and global forces. This is where tools like Pestal analysis and Porter's five forces model come into use in order to analyze the external environment. Pestal analysis framework that helps manager understand the macro environmental factors that influence the organizations. So, Pestal analysis stands for political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. These factors are generally outside the organization control but must be anticipated because they shape organizational opportunities and threats. For example, when Uber entered into the market, it looked at technological readiness, smartphones, GPS system. Also, it looks at social trends, demand for convenience, and regulatory challenges as well. So, another model which we discuss when we talk about external environment is Porter Five Forces model, which is developed by Michael Porters. The Five Forces model is used to analyze the competitive environment of an industry within the industry. It helps managers understand the profit potential and the competitive intensity of a market. So, the five forces are: number one, threat of a new entrant. When a new competitors can easily enter into an industry, existing companies face pressure on prices and market share. For example, in the airline industry, the threat of a new entrant is low because starting an airline requires high capital and regulatory approvals as well. But in contrast to food delivery industry like Foodpanda or Careem now has low entry barriers because competition is less. The second force is bargaining power of a supplier. Supplier can influence prices and quality as well. If there are only few suppliers, their bargaining power is strong. For example, Intel have strong power over computer manufacturers because only a few companies produced advanced microchips. In contrast, a small cotton supplier have a little power over large textile industries. Number third force is bargaining power of a buyer. When customers have many alternatives, their bargaining power increases. This forces companies to lower the prices and improve the quality of product. For example, in the retail clothing industry, buyers have higher power because they can easily switch between brands. However, in industries like electricity supply, buyers' power is low because they are limited providers. They don't have options. Next force is threat of substitutes. Products or services, threats of substitutes. Substitutes can be product or service. From different industries, there are the threats of different substitutes. For example, tea and coffee are substitute. Ride-hailing apps like Uber are substitute for traditional taxis. Streaming services like Spotify or YouTube are substitutes for buying CDs. So, these are the threats from the substitutes products and services. We need to understand this as well. And the last force, which is discussed by Porter, is industry rivalry. This refers to the intensity of competition among the existing companies or players. High rivalry reduces profitability. For example, the fast food industry has intense rivalry among McDonald's, Burger King or KFC. But on the other hand, Boeing and Airbus face rivalry but only from each other because they dominate the airplane manufacturing industry. So, we need to understand the external factors. The third the third part of strategic management process is understanding the internal environment or internal analysis, which is about strengths and weaknesses. Organization must also look inward. What resources and capabilities do we have? Do they have a strong brand, efficient processes, or a skilled human resource? A popular tool here for the internal analysis is SWOT analysis, which combines both external and the internal perspectives. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is widely used strategic planning tool that helps manager evaluate both the internal capabilities and external environment of their organizations. Strength and weaknesses. These are the internal factors which is inside the organization and in organizational control, whereas opportunities or threats are the external factors outside the organizational control, which is not controllable by the organization. So, SWOT as a diagnostic tool helps manager understand what the company is good at, what are the company's strengths, where it struggles, means what are the company weaknesses, what chances it can take advantage of opportunity, and what dangers it must prepare for threats. So, this is about internal analysis. After doing external and internal analysis, the next step of strategic management process is formulating strategies. Based on the analysis, managers decide what path to take. Do we want to grow by expanding into a new markets, or should we focus on a cost leadership, or should we differentiate our product? For example, Walmart focuses on cost leadership, providing lowest prices, while Apple emphasizes on differentiation with premium designs, quality and innovation, but with the higher prices. Number 5th point in strategic management process is implementing strategies. A strategy is only as good as its execution. Implementation means allocating resources, designing structures, motivating employees, and align the entire organization with the chosen strategy. After the implementation, next step is evaluation of results. Finally, strategies must be continuously monitored as well. If the results are not meeting expectations, managers must adapt. Nokia, for example, failed to evaluate the shift to smartphones quickly enough and lost its dominance, while Samsung and Apple adapted more effectively. So, let me pause and ask you, if you were managing a new startup that sells eco-friendly packaging, what external opportunities and threats would you consider in your strategy? Think about consumer trends, government regulations and competitors. So, if we are going now we are going to wrap up our today's discussion. Remember that strategic management is about creating a roadmap for a future. It is a dynamic, ongoing process of analyzing the environment, setting the goals, formulating and implementing strategies, and evaluating the outcomes. In the second half of this chapter, we will explore the actual types of strategies organizations use: corporate strategies, competitive strategies, and functional strategies. And we will also look at how managers choose between different type of approaches like cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. So, take a short break, reflect on the companies you admire, and think about what strategies they might be using. When we return, we will dive deeper into our fascinating world of organizational strategies in the next lecture. That is all about today's lecture. Thank you so much.